Welcome to Always Real Talk. One of the struggles that's been going on for decades is how to fix public education, especially in urban cities in America. I'm amazed, though, on how I've heard very little plans on addressing this issue from the 2020 presidential contenders, but that's another issue for another show. One thing is clear. When things are going terrible, it makes national and local news quickly. Advocates are always vocal when things are going bad or those test scores are what? Low. But today I want to celebrate Mayor Muriel Bowser and her entire educational team in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. The mayor's commitment to improving education has never wavered. She has made very tough decisions necessary to achieve improvements. Mayor Bowser and her team has started to make real results, and as a parent of a D.C. public school high schooler, I've had the chance to witness firsthand 12 years of change that started off very painful. You see, creating change is never easy. For the partners of DC public school children, you know what I'm talking about. You've probably been through it. But the 2019 PARRC scores were announced, and PARRC stands for the Partnership of Assessment and Readiness for College and Careers, which is a group of states working together to develop a set of assessments that measure whether students are on the right track to be successful in college and careers. You see, this is an important test. The exam is supposed to align with what students are actually learning in the classroom, like basically giving parents a snapshot of how your child is progressing towards meeting grade level expectations. For example, for many years, we used to hear that a large number of D.C. public schools were either reading below level in math or below level in English. But for the fourth year in a row since 2015, DCPS continues to make improvements by the increased NELA. What does that stand for, Kwame? Well, that stands for English Language Arts. They've increased by 15%, and the math scores have increased by almost 12%. The number of DC public school students scoring on a level 4 or 5 increased by almost 5% in English and 2% in math. And in 2019, it outpaced the state average. So close to 33% met or exceeded expectations from grades 3 to grades 8. And 75% of DC public schools had a gain in English. But some would say that the district is changing because of gentrification and test scores. That's why it's changing. But that's not totally true. You see, for an example, in Ward 8 of the city, where the highest poverty level exists and lowest test scores, but the brightest students, I'll let that sink in. You'll catch up later. Hart Middle School saw almost a 14% increase in its English scores. Then there's Burville in Ward 7, another east of the river school, who saw almost a 10% increase in their English scores. You see, the mayor and her team should be commended for making increases in some of the hardest areas to increase and areas that now have seen increases in a while. 61% of DC public schools made gains in math. Once again, east of the river schools, which has some of the brightest minds in the world, saw an increase at Randall Highlands, whose math scores increased almost 12%. And then over at the WE Education Campus in Ward 4, it increased by almost 12%. Hold up. I know some of you are thinking, but did the mayor and her team close the gap in minority students in English and math? Well, I thought the same thing, so here's the answer. Over 5 years, Hispanic and Latino students have double-digit increases in English, 16%, and math, almost 11%. Now, hold on. I know you're saying again, but Kwame, what about the African American and black students? Well, I'm black, so of course I looked at those numbers, and African American students increased in English by 10% and math almost 6%. Now, to be clear, we still have a ways to go, but we must stop and respect and give credit to Mayor Bowser and her team for moving the needle in the right direction consistently, making sure the city produces students that can read, write, add, and subtract, and prove it through test scores and other measures. Yes, I know that test scores are not the only ways to measure a student's understanding, but then again, we can't have it both ways. We can't beat the mayor up when they are negative and then act like they don't matter when she achieves double-digit success. So at the end of the day, I agree with our Superintendent King, who said these gains are a testament to incredible work of our educators. You see, I know firsthand that there's been a serious fight on school reform, and it was painful, and at the time, very unfair. longtime educators who gave their entire life to educating our students when they didn't have nowhere near the resources we have today, but were accountable to do more with less. Your work will always be respected. As a graduate of DC public school system, I'm aware, and I'm here today because of you, those that were actually forced or retired or even was terminated. So thank you to all the folks that are working in our classrooms today and in our schools that have been under tremendous pressure to produce sometimes and play the role of a teacher, parent, social worker, and not even have all the tools to actually do so, but still produce results. You are our heroes. May God bless each one of you as we start the new year right here in the District of Columbia. So it's always real talk, and this is my always real talk of the moment. Welcome to Always Real Talk. Hey, I would love for you to follow me on IG. What is the IG, Kwame? It's I am Kwame Brown. That's right. Just go to Instagram, I am Kwame Brown. Click follow. Follow us. Follow our show. If you want to get it on your phone, what do I got to do? No problem. Text the word show. That's right. Text the word show to 202-410-0522. Text the word show to 202-410-0522, and you can get Always Real Talk sent directly to your phone. If it's Always Real Talk, you know it's going to be real.